What is a job? Is it just something you do to earn a paycheck? Or is it something more? Is it a chance to use your skills, to do something you enjoy? Maybe it's a way to give to others or support a cause. Does the work you do give you a sense of accomplishment or prestige? Does it allow you to lead the life you want? And how is your job related to your career? For most of us, jobs are a means to an end, providing us with the resources we need to live. Even if that's the case, you can't think about the kind of job you want, the means, without thinking about the rewards you want it to lead to, the ends. Of course, you can go out and get a job, but getting the job you really want requires you to think about the life you really want, and then to make plans to get there. We all know that there is more to life than work. What we have to consider first is how our work and the decisions we make about our career affects our other choices in life.
It's very important to set career goals. I think one of the most common mistakes people make when they need a job is to take the first thing that comes along without even asking themselves what they want or what they're good at. All people, even those who have jobs, need to take some time every now and then to step back and really explore what they want out of life and identify what their goals are.
Self-reflection is very important to career planning because for the notion of the word planning, if you don't reflect upon who you are and what you want, you won't be able to get to the next step. So when you really self-reflect, you need to focus on what your strengths are as well as your weaknesses and experiences and how you can brand yourself to get to the next step in your career.
Think about times when you worked on a project where you made the best use of your talents, your skills. Think about an experience where the results came together really well. So if someone asked you, describe an experience or a project that you loved in your work, those are the self-reflection activities you want to build into your future career planning, thinking about how can I take those components and make sure I build them into what I want for the future. That's how self-reflection can be especially helpful with career planning.
For starters, it can sometimes help to think about the difference between your job and your career. A job might be defined as any regular activity you do for money. A career, on the other hand, is the course of your entire working life. Part of getting the life you really want is to think beyond the immediate need for a job and try to think in terms of a career. Then you can pursue a job that matches your life goals rather than one that matches only your immediate needs. There was a time, of course, when people worked for the same company for decades, retiring on their pensions. But today's careers take much different paths. Today's workers will hold an average of 15 jobs and even change careers 3 to 4 times over the course of their working lives. So not only is your choice of job an important one, it's one you will likely have to make again and again as your needs, values, and circumstances change.
In today's economy, jobs are always changing. Sometimes you really do need to take the long view. Understand that the job you take tomorrow might not be the same one you're working in 2 years from now. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you do need to have a plan for your career. It's true that you can't plan for every unexpected event that might happen in your career, but you do need to have an understanding of your priorities. That is, you need to know what you're interested in, what your goals are. If you have those insights about your needs and preferences, you'll be able to make informed choices when you come to a crossroads and you're looking for a new job. So start investigating your options now, rather than waiting for a situation where you'll be forced to make a decision quickly. One important option to consider is the possibility that you might need more education or work experience to reach your career goals.
The need for career planning in today's economy and job market is crucial. In order to get ahead in your career, or if you're unemployed and you're looking to get a new job, you really need to plan. And by that I mean search the market to see where the hot jobs are and where the pockets of opportunities are to match them with your skills and expertise. And if you don't have experience in that area, it's time to, during your planning process to really see how you can ramp up those skills. Maybe volunteer or get an internship, but really you need to plan ahead if you want to get ahead.
The job market today is evolving so fast, so to be continually planning for what comes next for you in your career is extremely important. So for instance, just thinking about the technologies that you're using in your work now as compared to even 3 years ago, things are evolving and your career needs to evolve as well. A simple step for that is to go to one of your favorite job sites and then analyze a few of the position descriptions that are posted there for the kind of work you want to do or either the work that you're aiming for. Look at what skills, what technologies that they're asking for, what the requirements are demanding, and then ask yourself, am I prepared to plug into that? And if not, that can help you decide how you want to plan your career going forward and decide what activities you need to invest in.
Take a moment and picture your life 5 years from now. How are you making a living? How are you spending your free time? Where are you living? What sort of people do you spend your time with? How do you spend your vacations? What are your major concerns? If you'd like, you can pause the video and write down some ideas. Now picture your life 10 years down the road, then 20. How do you see your life changing? How will the decisions you make today about your job and career change your life many years down the road?
It can be difficult to think long term when there are so many immediate needs to be met. The longer you're out of work, the more desperate you are. There are bills to pay and food to buy. And of course, you have to meet your immediate concerns first. Just try to balance those concerns with your long-term plans. And remember that any job that you might take is just a temporary solution or a stepping stone to a better opportunity.
So how important is it to balance immediate needs, whether those are finances, other factors, with your long-term goals in a job search? Obviously very important. You can't set off on a long search if your money is going to run out in 2 weeks. Or it's not a good idea to switch careers or do something else if you haven't really put a plan in place and know step by step what you're going to do, how long you can sustain your search. So this is the balance that all job seekers face, which is, all right, what are my finances? What are my immediate needs? Do I have college tuition to pay, for example, where I really can't go on severance and unemployment for that long? And balancing that with where do I really want to work? What do I want to do? What's going to be a satisfying career move for me?
Keep in mind that money isn't everything. Though it may be cliche, the truth is that most people who are satisfied with their jobs usually cite many other reasons for their happiness than the size of their paycheck. You have your own vision of the kind of life you want. The key is to set the right goals and take the best steps to get there.
And I set out to do 3D animation, graphic design, and web design. And I ended up working at a correctional facility right after high school as a case manager and then an operations associate. Do one thing and ended up in another path. College Summit, we are a national nonprofit. We partner with schools and school districts to help them increase the college enrollment rate in low-income areas, and so that's what we do. Originally started off as a temp, and they liked my work, so they asked me to work full-time as an operations associate. So what I do is pretty much monitor the day-to-day operations, prospecting for philanthropy, events management, and just pretty much the Jill of all trades, I guess you could say. Starting off on the low end, just getting discouraged because what I wanted to do was something in the beginning that I was like, I don't want to do this. This isn't what I went to school for. So that was pretty much a big problem for me in the beginning. But I ended up liking it, so I ended up staying in this field. What changed my mind was that at my previous job, I was working with offenders, and I just saw so many individuals that pretty much what can happen if you don't, get an education. So many of the individuals on my caseload had left school in the 9th and 10th grade, and so now that I'm working with students that are in high school, it's kind of easier to train a teenager better than an adult. So instead of being on the tail end, I get to start off with students that saying this is what can happen if you don't get your education, and they are pretty much more impressionable. I would say don't be discouraged. A lot of times you might start off wanting to do something else, and sometimes you might get a job that's not in your field. And don't be discouraged, because you can take so many different skill sets from a position that's something that you probably don't want to do. So don't be discouraged, just learn, and you'll be surprised. You might go into one area and then say, hey, well, I like this and I want to continue doing that. So I would say don't get discouraged, keep pushing, and just learn from every single position that you're offered.
I was always interested in how things worked, you know, fixing things. Then a few years ago, I heard a man who fixed heating and air systems say that a good skilled technician will always be able to find a job in this field. That got my attention. The biggest issue I thought I was going to have was the training. I was lucky, and my high school offered a course through the trade school in heating and air. I took those classes and it set me on my path. Of course, I didn't learn everything in high school. When I graduated, I was hired by a local company and they put me in their apprenticeship program. My advice would be that if you have an interest in something, especially a trade, look at all your options. If you're in high school, does your school offer classes? If you're out of high school, maybe a local community college has a class you could take. Talk to companies. See if they have any apprenticeship programs. I know of some businesses that will pay for your training. Look, people are always going to need things fixed. Heating, air, cars, toasters. If you can fix them, then you'll always have a job.